Hi guys! I thought that I might try something new with this whole vlogging adventure that I started a few months ago. Obviously, I kind of just started it so that I could learn editing, and also so that I could just, I don't know, record memories in a new way. I love Instagram and I love social media, so I was like, hey, let's see if I can figure out new ways to remember life whenever I look back and just see how blessed I was whenever I'm older and get to show my kids and that kind of stuff. So anyway, the new thing that I'm thinking is I was actually looking through my phone and I found this note that was just super encouraging to me because it was these bullet points that I had written down of things that I felt like God was just showing his true character in really, really simple everyday stuff. And so, I don't know, I think I was just thinking, hey, it'd be really cool if I could share a story or two every once in a while. Who knows, maybe I'll never share one again. We'll see. But the very first bullet point in that note on my phone was, like, the little title was, "What yoga is teaching me about pain." And I was like, oh, that's juicy. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. By the way, it's nothing novel. It's nothing like you've probably heard it a million times, but I think it's just interesting to start conversations and to share things that are going on in our lives personally, so that we can walk together and encourage each other as we do it. Okay, so what yoga is teaching me about pain. So a few months ago, I started yoga again, and I had taken a really long break, and I had actually kind of stopped working out for a while. And so going back to yoga, I was just like, man, I always hate starting things new or like over because I know I'm not going to be really good at it. And there's this one specific pose in yoga that I always dread. Like, doesn't matter if I've been going to yoga for 6 months straight or if I am starting again, I've always hated pigeon pose. So all my yogis out there, props to you if you can do pigeon pose really well. So as with every class, this first class that I had headed back to yoga in, we were kind of like headed that direction. I could just sense that the teacher, she was taking us to pigeon pose. And I was like, all right, I was psyching myself out, like kind of like talking myself through it, like, Alex, you can do this. And so she's like leading us into pigeon pose, and we finally get down there. And as we were going through it, which, by the way, if you don't know what pigeon pose is, here's a picture of it. It's probably like one of the most simple yoga poses, but I cannot do it. It hurts my hips, it hurts my back. Yeah, so that's been my current situation in yoga pose for a long time, or in pigeon pose for a long time. So back to the story. We're leading into the class, we're getting into this pigeon pose. I'm like, trying to psych myself up for it, trying to get myself like to be like, you can do this, you can hold this. And as I go into the pose, I'm kind of like immediately taken back to this one time when a yoga teacher had said, all right guys, if these poses are hard for you, or if it's something that you're not comfortable with, or it causes a little bit of uncomfortability or even a little bit of pain, then I really encourage you to not wiggle out of the pose, but to sit a little bit deeper into it and to be still in it. So just breathe in the stillness and sit longer and deeper in the pose, rather than your first instinct, which is to literally just like give up and get out of it and wait until they lead you to another pose. Okay, so we're going to pigeon pose. That pops into my brain. So I'm like, okay, sit, breathe, feel the pain. Okay. As I'm going into the pose, my yoga teacher walks up and she just takes both hands and like gently presses my lower back closer to the floor. And I was thinking, lady, this is literally my worst pose. You're killing me. My hips are gonna pop out of the skin. Like, please don't do that. And then I kind of got myself back together, and I just breathed, or I took a breath, and I was like, okay, let yourself sit in the pose. So she did not have her hands on my hips for probably more than 10 seconds. Like, she just took her hands back off, and you guys are never gonna guess what happened. my body stayed in that position. Like, my shoulders were folded over, my hips were all the way to the ground, like I was in perfect alignment, and I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe. I like kind of looked around and I was like, does anybody see this? Does anybody see that I am doing pigeon pose right now for the first time ever in the way that it's supposed to be done? And so I look back, I just like went on, you know, I just went on in class and didn't think about it again. But I look back on that day and I'm thinking, that is so much like God. It is so much like God to look down and to see us in these positions or in these times of our lives where we're just like not comfortable. It's painful. It's a season that we truly don't want to be in, and we wouldn't choose to be in it anyway if we had our choice. But he sees us and we're in it, and he just puts his hand on our lives and guides us, not to just take us out of the situation, but guides us through that season and through that pain and that discomfort, so that when he truly does remove his hand and let you go on to the next season, you can hold that pose. You don't have to be afraid of the pain. You don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, get me out of here, and kind of panicky in the situation that you're in. But instead, God's hand is just guiding you with this gentle calmness that is truly like none other. And I don't know, I just think that that's so encouraging. I was encouraged by it when I thought it, and I was just encouraged by the thought that, hey, if it's a long season, if it's a long pose that you're holding, the Lord is right there with you, and he's right there to guide you and hold that pose with you, so that when you don't have to hold it any longer, it's no longer a source of pain. It's no longer a source of contention. And by the way, I have been doing pigeon pose a little bit longer every single time, and I don't even hate it anymore. So I'm pretty proud of myself. There are some other poses that I hate, but I have a feeling that if I work with those the way that I've worked with these, I think that I'm going to be better off for it. And that's exactly how life is. So when things get painful or seasons get long, I know that on the other side of it, I'm going to be better for it. So let me know if you guys have similar thoughts on sitting in seasons of pain or seasons of discomfort. I'd love to know your opinions, or love to know your thoughts, or even just your examples of how you're seeing the character of God in everyday life. So hope you guys have an awesome week and an awesome March, and yeah, have a great day. Thanks for listening.